Am I the asshole for ignoring my girlfriend after I had to help at her sister's wedding? Hey Reddit, I'm a 21-year-old female, F21, and my girlfriend, J, F22, and I have been together for 4 years. Last weekend, her older sister Sarah, F25, got married, so we drove 5 hours to the wedding location. We arrived a day early to help with preparations. Jay mentioned that we would be helping a little with setup, and I was totally okay with that. However, upon arriving at the remote location, I was told we needed to unload all of our luggage and then drive an hour and a half to the nearest Walmart for groceries. After the long drive, I was feeling car sick but didn't want to seem unhelpful in front of her family. While in the car, Jay's sister Ray informed me that they would need my help cooking a dish, specifically a corn salad. They didn't really ask, it felt more like I was being told what to do. The next day, the wedding day, Ray woke us up at 6 a.m., urging us to start early. I made the corn salad as planned, but before I knew it, I was cooking several other dishes as well. It was the wedding day, and I didn't want to make a scene, so I went along with it. We started cooking at 7 a.m., and the ceremony was scheduled for 4:30 p.m. Jay and I took a break around 3:30 p.m. to quickly get ready, rushing through hair and makeup. Once the ceremony concluded and the bride and groom left for pictures, we were pushed back into the kitchen to finish things up. It was around 5:30 p.m., and with dinner set for 6:30 p.m., everyone began asking when food would be served. The kitchen was cramped, hardly larger than a closet. Because Jay's sister Sarah didn't want to take many pictures, everything concluded early, leading to even more pressure for us to serve dinner promptly. The floor was wet. While frosting cupcakes, someone bumped into me, and I got frosting on my dress. I went to the bathroom to clean up, and Jay followed because she could tell I was upset. I expressed my frustration, and she apologized, saying she didn't think we'd be doing this much work. She assured me we were almost done and we could finish quicker if we all helped. Once I finished the desserts and finally got to sit down, it was almost 9 p.m., and I discovered there was no food left. I hadn't eaten all day and had been on my feet since 7 a.m., feeling pretty miserable. After about 30 minutes of rest, Ray called us to help clean, and I just said, "Okay, I need to use the restroom first," then locked myself in a stall. If I had my own way home, I would have left long before. The day had already been tense, as Jay had a fight with her mom, unrelated, and was in a bad mood. All I wanted was to go home. Now that I'm home, Jay is trying to contact me, but I just want to be left alone. I feel mistreated and miserable. I thought I was a guest, not a worker. Jay is calling me an asshole for ignoring her, saying it was just to help her sister. However, I was never asked to help cater the wedding, I was asked to attend. So, do you think I'm the asshole for being upset about having to help her sister? Not the asshole, but you need to speak with her. You were not invited to attend, you were invited to be free labor. Sounds like you done the entire catering, and to top it up you didn't even get to eat from the food you actually cooked. Anyone would feel used and upset, and your partner should know why. You weren't helping, you didn't do one dish. You did most of the catering for a wedding cause your GFS sister and family didn't want or couldn't pay for catering. And instead of communicating things clearly, presumably to avoid you declining, they masked it as a little help. Of course, not the asshole. Those expectations should have been made clear from the beginning so you'd have a choice. Since they weren't, you were duped. Worse, Jay didn't stick up or defend your needs or interests to her family. She just let you be used. Also, you would have been well within your rights to tell Ray, no, at any point, FYI. Jay has some serious apologizing to do. Your ignoring her is completely understandable and is besides the main points above, that she has to own first. And if Jay has trouble understanding that, show her this post. Send them a bill. Break up, but make sure you give Jay a piece of your mind for standing there and allowing them to treat you like the family servant and not stepping in. Jay should be ashamed of herself. Not the asshole. You were doing forced labor at an event where you were supposed to be a guest. There is no way they did not know how much work was involved. Info: is there a history of forgiveness is easier than permission in the family? Or is it less manipulation and more horrendously bad planning? You're not the asshole either way. Leaving things like cupcakes until the same day is insane. Expecting a guest who is wearing celebration clothing, hair and makeup to be doing kitchen shifts is insane. And then it's somehow the same guest's job to clean up? Nah. Either your girl knew and lied, or had no clue but can't see the issue. Both are problematic. Am I the asshole for refusing to give a dude $20 after I hit his car? I stopped by a gas station today before work, and after I pulled into a parking spot and got out of my car, these two old dudes, like 60s, 70s, got out of their car and claimed I slammed into their car, then pointed at a giant scrape on my front bumper that I got in another accident. I noticed dude had a huge dent that was obviously already there, And when I pointed out the damage on both cars was obviously already there, he claimed, "Yeah, but you made my dent worse." ATP. I thought maybe he was joking, and it seemed so ridiculous because I was 99% sure I didn't hit him. He started guilting me, saying stuff like, "Well, if it was an expensive car you'd have a problem. I can try to be nice, I just want you to know what you did was wrong." Before his friends started saying stuff like, "You should at least slide him $20, it's the right thing." I felt like I was being scammed, so said, "Have a good day," and went inside the store. After about a minute, the friend came in and started harassing me in line, saying, "You should give him the $20, it's the least you could do." I ignored him and walked up to the cashier. The cashier asked if I needed anything and the dude said, "Maybe the footage, she just slammed into our car." I felt the whole car rattle. The cashier asked if it was true and I said, "No, he's claiming old damage just happened when it didn't." The dude then said, "Well, you should just give us the $20 or we'll sue you." I said, "Okay. Go ahead and sue me." To which he said something under his breath about calling the cops and just walked away and waited by their car. They didn't bother me when I left. The part that makes me feel like I could be an asshole is the possibility that maybe I actually did scrape his car, and because I instantly felt like I was being fucked with, I didn't really take it seriously, which would have been a huge dick move if I somehow did hit his car. But I feel like I would have definitely noticed if I indeed slammed into it so hard it rattled. The car was also a shit box 90s sedan that was covered in dents and rust and had no grille. If he had wanted to genuinely look at the footage or go through my insurance, we could have talked it out, but the instant guilting and leaving without asking for the footage or my name or anything makes me feel like they were definitely scammers. Did I avoid getting scammed, or am I an asshole who hit and ran two seniors? Not the asshole look. I've hit a lot of cars in my life and been hit as well. You will know. There's a grinding noise and the whole car shakes. Those old men were trying to scam you. I would have been like, okay, I'll call the cops and see what happens. In a post 9/11 world there are cameras almost everywhere. They probably would have backed down immediately if you called their bluff. They were looking for beer money. Not the asshole. I would have said, "Let's call the cops and watch the video together." Not the asshole. Super common scam. That's why he shut down the second you told him to sue. Also, men like this typically target women and frail-looking men, thinking they will be an easier target. You did the right thing. Did you back up after you stopped? Because if you didn't back up, and they didn't pull forward, you would obviously see your bumper very close to his. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It's the least you could do. No, that's incorrect. Allow me to demonstrate. I've had this happen to me in the parking of my place of work. Whoever it was left a note pinned to my windshield claiming I side-swiped their car and I had scratches on my car to prove it. Just like you, I knew those scratches were from prior instances and were not recent. The kicker is, they didn't page me or get security involved. I worked at a hospital at the time, so it wasn't like it would have been hard to contact me. So I contacted my car insurance and gave them the number the scammer left on the note. They dismissed the report as whoever it was wasn't expecting me to get insurance companies involved and backpedaled. Am I the asshole for throwing everything back in our faces, after I feel as though my friends use me? I, 25F, have two friends, Zach, 26M, and Bella, 26F, who I have had a rocky year with. For context, we had all grown up together and had all talked about moving in together to help save money, and it would be fun to live with friends. Now, Bella was living with her parents in another state and moved back to our home state without a job. Took her like 3 months to find one. Just some savings, and crashed at Zach's studio apartment. I live at home with my family. I work a full-time corporate gig and both Zach and Bella work part-time and have their side ventures which do okay income-wise but not much. So, in order to make this work and help everyone save up for the security deposit, I got both of them side work with my job. I negotiated their pay up pretty high for what they do, but thankfully my job was gracious enough to offer it when I explained the situation. I also cooked them dinner a lot. We always had leftovers for family dinner anyways, to help them save money. But when the time came for us to tour places to live, suddenly all that money was gone and the security deposit on 3-bedroom homes were too expensive. I asked them where all that money went, and they had been blowing it at bars and clubs in our nearby city and dispensary because they deserved to have fun sometimes. I was like, well, what the fuck, the whole point of this was to help save money so we can all move in together, and then they said, well, security deposits are cheaper on 2-bedroom apartment and you live at home, so we were thinking of getting a place together. Well, I was pissed. And I told them that, and I said it was kinda shitty of them to cut me out after I've been getting them work and cooking for them for months and helping them whenever I can financially, and then they accused me of throwing everything back in their face and keeping score. IDK. I don't try to be that friend that's tit for tat, but I also don't appreciate being treated like this. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, and you dodge a bullet. They probably would've been short on rent eventually since they're blowing what little money that they have on a good time. Girl, stay with your parents as long as possible, save your coin, invest, and once you're in a great financial place, get yourself a dream place by yourself. Leave those losers in the dust. Not the asshole. Keeping score? These people aren't your friends. Consider yourself lucky that you figured this out before signing the lease. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. While keeping score in a friendship in general is not good friendship, it sounds like you were pretty clear on the jobs being to help with moving in together, right? These were specifically earmarked for getting the housing, and that means that keeping score is what's required on their part of the friendship. Bella and Zach are certainly not responsible people, and I don't think they view you as the same level of friend that you view them. Have a friendly person at work, ensure that the side work dries up on them. Decide whether you want to stay friends. Do not move in with them. This is good. Now you know not to associate with them before you got tied up in a situation that would be harder to get out of. Be happy. I think the universe just gave you the gift of learning a lesson before it really got bad for you. They are not your friends. Time to move on. Am I the asshole for requiring my son to cook as part of carrying his weight in the house? Throwaway account for privacy reasons. I am a single mom of 2 teens. My son, Jake, fake name, graduated from high school last year. This post is about a running issue that we're having. He approved this post. My background. I'm in a professional career in which I average around 50 hours a week. In my area, my salary makes us middle class. His background. Jake is a great son and brother, and I honestly couldn't ask for better even with the ongoing issue we've been having. He's trustworthy, very respectful, and a good communicator, and he always steps up when asked. All in all, I say, and he agrees, that we have a great relationship and our family functions well as a unit. Jake's father is unable to provide guidance on life issues. Since he graduated, Jake has had some trouble finding his way. He enrolled at the local college, but he was uninterested in the courses and overwhelmed at the sudden responsibility of dictating his own life path. We agreed that he could drop his course load with the understanding that he could always restart at a later date. Jake had a PT job that he quit around the same time. I understood the reasons behind it and had no issue with this decision either. Because Jake is not in school or working, he has a lot of free time. My view. While I have been strongly encouraging Jake to get a job or figure out a trade to get into, I have not yet made this a requirement of living at home. Although he's an adult, he's a young one, and I've been giving him time to sort things out. It's only been a few months of him being in this position. However, I feel that a person who is not working or in school bears extra responsibility at home as they are the ones who have the most time. I have required that along with keeping up with his own chores, laundry, bedroom, trash, etc., Jake should perform additional duties on a daily basis to keep the house running smoothly, cleaning floors more regularly, dusting, etc. Recently, I upped this requirement to include cooking dinner every night. The meals are not required to be fancy. These can be quick meals, think burgers and fries, spaghetti, chicken and rice, etc., can be cooked earlier in the day so that it frees his evenings, and can also be made in bulk for leftovers. His view. The cleaning is fine, but having to cook feels like a punishment because he hates cooking. While he's not working or in school, he does have multiple issues that he's juggling and is under a lot of stress in his life for varying reasons. He's not just lying around the house all day. He devotes a lot of time to his hobbies, with my support, which benefit his physical and mental well-being. Also, anything extra I ask of him, he does without complaint. He feels that I'm being unreasonable in my request. My views are outdated, because I was born before 2000 Dropshead. I never compromise, and I can only have things my way. Am I the asshole for requiring Jake to cook as part of carrying his weight in the household? Not the asshole. We agreed that he could drop his course load with the understanding that he could always restart at a later date. Why not reduce rather than just quitting though? These can be quick meals, think burgers and fries, spaghetti, chicken and rice, etc., can be cooked earlier in the day so that it frees his evenings, and can also be made in bulk for leftovers. NGL, that doesn't sound great though. Reheated burgers and fries? His view. The cleaning is fine, but having to cook feels like a punishment because he hates cooking. My dude, you are an adult now. Who cares what you like doing? You do what you gotta. You're going to have to feed yourself for the rest of your life. Get liking it. Info. Who is cooking now? How about just start with 1-2 days a week of cooking? So much recipes online and on YouTube. Maybe going 7 days expectation is too much all of a sudden. Can you cook together? To be honest, cooking is a most useful life skill. How is he gonna eat when he moves out on his own eventually? Also, girls find it hot if their guy can cook. Is that motivation? My concern is that he's quit both school and work immediately after starting it, and is devoting all his time to hobbies. I also think Jake is being a bit precious about not knowing what he wants to do. You don't have to figure out everything right away, but you should be doing something productive with yourself. Building your transferable skills and texturing out your understanding of the world of work. Anyway, I think you are not the asshole. Although I do think 7 days a week is too many. You or a sibling should take one weekend evening, and you could do takeout or leftovers one evening. So he could cook like Monday and Tuesday, then Wednesday is smorgasbord. He cooks Thursday, Friday, you cook Sat, and a sibling cooks on Sun. So 4 days is really doable. Not the asshole. He hates cooking? Does he enjoy eating? He's an adult who isn't interested in college, isn't working, and appears to be very comfortable living off you forever. If he doesn't carry his weight, he needs to move out. Not the asshole. He has to look at it this way. He's not a kid anymore, and has to contribute as an adult. Part of being an adult is doing things you dislike. Do you think the majority of people like their jobs? No. This is life, and he has to realize that life doesn't always equal the stuff you enjoy. Not the asshole. If Jake lived on his own, he would need to cook for himself. So his excuse of it being a punishment isn't valid. It's a necessity of life. Maybe take a cooking class.